Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1548, written by Fabulous Rich 8974, the day reality rewrote itself before my eyes. Never thought this would happen to me, but here we are, and I had a witness. Today I was bending over cleaning something off the floor with kitchen wipes. I saw that the floor was clean, no more spill, and decided to wipe one more time to make sure it was disinfected. Suddenly, the spill was back, and I was smearing it all over the floor. I jumped back and shouted, "What the hell? Where did that come from?" My son was standing there handing me the wipes and said that the spill on the floor wasn't all clean. I said, "No, it was. I cleaned it and suddenly it was back. I was wiping the clean floor one last time to make sure it was germ-free. And suddenly the spill was back." He said he was watching me the whole time and didn't see me totally clean the floor. But the second that this happened, he was frozen, and then suddenly unfroze. It felt like everything stopped and then started within a small amount of time. So short, we can't perceive it happening. But I did, and I know others here have too. At that moment when I saw the floor was clean and then realized it wasn't, I was there, but it felt like my body was on autopilot, that I had left and came back within a few seconds. I felt off, and I also felt like time slowed down a bit, then quickly sped up. I don't think objects are disappearing and then reappearing. I think something is happening to us. I don't think the spill suddenly disappeared and then reappeared. I think I did. We are leaving and coming back, but when we come back to the same moment in time and space, something is a little different because we are coming back a few seconds earlier than we left. It's like I left after the spill was wiped and came back a few seconds earlier. Where are we going? I don't know. It's happening outside of our perception of time. Either we're all totally crazy and losing it, or having a collective episode of insanity, or something happening to us that we don't understand. Case answer file 1548, the day reality rewrote itself before my eyes. So this is an interesting concept of disappearing object phenomena, where I think items really do vanish from the universe. The universe processing centers lose track of the index file or misconstrue it and then has to be repaired, and for that moment in time, the object doesn't exist. It can't be reloaded in from memory. So in this case, it was in your cone of vision and then it just vanished. Maybe for a brief second you looked away, and your kid did too, and then just back like that. Of course, that's a returning object phenomena, but they are one and the same, I believe. Now, sometimes maybe we blip out. Our perception of reality at least can. I wonder if the universe can lose track of us in the same way. When the soul transfer process is initiated or ongoing, having a soul transferred into you, maybe reoccupying or merging with your soul, which may all just be one soul, but it's recombining a part of it, and that process might be jarring, and in some cases causes perception issues and maybe a reset in time too, I don't know. Bonus file, written by Overhopeful, the spine-chilling tale of the vanishing dude. This happened a few years back at my college dorm. Roommate and I, both around age 19 probably, were coming back to the dorm after dark. It's one of those buildings where you have to scan your university ID card to get in. Unless someone from the inside lets you in, there's no other way. We walk up to the building and see someone maybe 10 feet ahead of us scan their card and go inside. The key here is that he is just far enough ahead of us to where as soon as he goes inside and the door shuts itself, we are there scanning in our IDs to open the door for ourselves. Once inside the lobby area, there is one elevator on either side. These elevators are maybe just another 10 feet from the entrance door we just walked in. As we walk inside the building, we see the person who went in before us walk inside the elevator, and the door is just shut as we approached it, the same elevator he just got into. I pressed the button, and to my surprise, the doors opened instantly, like instantly. As soon as the doors closed, they were opening again, except this time there was nobody inside. I hesitated, but walked into the elevator and pushed my floor button. The energy between me and my roommate felt tense, and I didn't say anything as I was trying to rationalize what I just saw in my brain. My roommate spoke up first, saying, "Did you just see that guy?" and verified that I wasn't the only one who had seen it. We continued trying to come up with some kind of explanation and came to nothing. Even if the elevator guy only went up one floor, there was nowhere near enough time for the elevator to go up and come back down in time. Again, the doors closed with him inside mere seconds before they reopened after I pushed a button. Never experienced something like this since then. Still spooks me. Case notes for the bonus file. The spine-chilling tale of the vanishing dude. So, tethered to the last story, can people lose coherence and the universe loses track of them entirely? Yeah, apparently so, when it comes to elevators especially. It's not often the case in any other event outside of space-time portals, but is that what's happening here? They're in an elevator and then a space-time portal moves them somewhere else? I wonder from their perspective what happens. The only time we had a first-person perspective of someone that was in an elevator and then something went wrong was they exited the elevator and they were on the same floor they were supposed to be, but it wasn't the same universe. Then they went back and they came back to their original universe. So elevators almost seem like a hub to different multiverses. You press a button, you don't even know if you're going to the right universe. Of course, we're reading these stories, but they're from a pool of billions of people. So the odds that something happens to you if you go on an elevator are still astronomically low. But if anything was going to happen to you, an elevator is probably a good place to start if you want to chase after them. Like people that chase after tornadoes. Well, just take a lot of elevator rides and see what happens. Report in if anything does go awry. Bonus file written by ToastMasterX. From my nightmares into reality. I had a recurring dream as a child, right into my teens, of me playing outside with friends. I would always be looking down at something on the ground. Sometimes I'd be playing with toys, when I look up to see 3 strange men burst from some trees or bushes, carrying guns, running towards me and shouting. The colors in this dream were always washed out and everything looked like a sepia browny green. The way the men ran creeped me out, hunched like beasts, but urgently trying to get to me, brandishing guns, sinister, and I instantly wanted to get away. Particularly because the scene would crop up at the end of entirely different dreams unexpectedly. I'd forgotten about the dream, and many years later when I was 29, I was at my brother's house in the country, on a field not far from his house, walking his dog. The field had been plowed, so it was rough underfoot. Other than the dog who had run ahead, I felt totally alone. I spotted something blue and plastic in the plowed earth, which looked like a toy. Funny to find that here, I thought. So I reached down to get it, lost my footing, and fell sideways, banging my head on a tough crop of dirt. I felt dazed, heard the shout of a man's voice, and looked up to see 3 strange men, hunched over and carrying rifles, charging towards me. I couldn't comprehend what I was seeing at first, and not knowing where the dog or my brother was, felt very alone. I shouted at them and clambered backwards, but they kept coming, still hunched over, looking sternly at me. The memories of my dreams came back and my mind was a wreck dealing with it, terrified. But this time it felt much more real, because it was. The men got to me before I could properly stand, laid their guns down and spoke to me. They were on their way to a hunt, to shoot pheasants, saw me fall and said I didn't get up straight away, so they were running over to help. The odd hunched running was because they were trying to keep their footing on the plowed field. Even the colors matched my dream because of my knocked head. They must have thought me odd because I didn't really speak back to them, because I was so surprised to see this nightmarish scene return to me more than a decade after I'd last dreamt it. Luckily, they were coming to help me after all. Case notes for the bonus file. From nightmares into reality. So this is serious evidence of replay theory. That the concept that we've already lived the life we're going to live, and now we're just re-experiencing it as a movie. So we still have the illusion of free will. We still had it initially, but now we're just living the replay. Watching a game you already played, the highlights of a football match or something like that for people into sports. I'm into gaming, so for me it's just, well, you're just watching a replay of the game, and I do that all the time in Overwatch because it's good to learn, and maybe that's why we do it. Maybe we're trying to understand why we made the choices we made. It's the only thing that could fit to explain this if we want to preserve free will, because if we accept that the multiverse exists and there's quantum foam and every possible thing that can happen happens, then the future, there isn't just one future. There's a gazillion Googleplex futures, almost infinite. So how could your mind know which one the universe you're in now would result in? It's impossible unless there's replay theory. Now time for the quote of the day. Excess on occasion is exhilarating. It prevents moderation from acquiring the deadening effect of a habit. W. Somerset Maugham. You have those videos on YouTube where people engage in 10,000 calorie challenges or something like that, or go to buffets and try to eat as much as they can, and I think on occasion is the key word. that's a good idea. Live life to 120% on some days, or like 1,000% on some days, but then return to baseline. There was a saying, life is like a bowl of oatmeal, where mostly it's bland, but still pretty good, at least oatmeal with some brown sugar in it, right? But then sometimes there's dates in it, or cherries, or blueberries, and those are the exciting days that you really, you want to ham up. But life can't be blueberries every single day. Although, you can binge on blueberries, so you can have quite a few of them. But you have to have a baseline that's just maple oatmeal. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.